Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you really want to live in the body and mind you really want to be living in. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of food and body freedom, as well as find more meaning and more moments of joy in life, you are in the right place. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here and listening. Today, we're going to explore a concept that I believe can really fundamentally change the way you think about and set goals. And it is called identity-based goal setting. When I'm working with clients, we work a lot on this concept. It's about shifting the focus from where we want to achieve to who we want to become. And this approach isn't just about reaching milestones. It's about how we start seeing ourselves and our daily choices differently in a way that leads to real lasting change, real lasting transformation. It's sort of the psychology behind how we get ourselves into sustainable behavioral change. So in this episode, we're going to dig into how identity-based goals work, why they're so effective, and how they invite us to think about ourselves in new ways each and every day. We're also going to talk, as always, about really practical steps you can start to take to set these types of goals in your own life to really start to create lasting change for yourself. Hi, everyone. Guess what? I have a lovely discount code just for you, my listeners. The code is 10 off. That's 10OFF, and it will get you 10% off any one of my online courses, which now include Mastering Mindful Eating, Overcome Binge Eating, Overeating, and Emotional Eating for Good. And I also have a course on When You Want to Stop the Weight Loss Medication, a comprehensive guide to weight maintenance and mastery. So if you've maybe lost some weight using a medication and you're now wanting to go off the medication but keep the weight off, this is the course for you. And any course you buy, you keep the course for a minimum of 3 years, maybe longer. It just depends on how many are purchased. All courses are self-paced, and I promise you they are practical, meaning they don't just tell you what you need to do. You actually engage in the skills and strategies needed to make actual lasting behavior change. You learn how to do the what. Okay, all courses have multiple modules with multiple lessons. All include lots of examples, tips, and tricks to make things simple and clear. And you also get lots of downloadable resources, including the daily planning template that I use with my own clients, the exact protocol to use after a binge or an overeat has occurred to minimize its damage on your body and your mind. There are protein cheat sheets, research-based journaling prompts, and the literal how-to checklists on the skill you are learning about. And with the weight maintenance course, you also have a movement module that will help you figure out how to make a movement plan that fits your particular lifestyle and level of fitness. And you also have a natural appetite regulation module. So whether if you have never tried an online course to change behavior, or if you have, I just highly would recommend that you try one of these. I've put my heart and soul into both of them. They are all research-based, and now you can get 10% off. So again, that code is 10OFF. If you're ready to make changes that last, you can go to my website, heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen. And from the main menu, click courses, and it will get you to where you want to go. Or you can click on the links in the episode description below the show. And again, as soon as you're there, when you're ready for checkout, just enter the code 10OFF, 10 off. And just a reminder, I also have an ebook cookbook that is now available. It's called Protein Forward Easy Recipes. It includes all high protein recipes, including breakfast and sweet treats full of protein and lunches and dinner. Okay, so again, head to my website. It's probably the easiest thing to do. heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen. And from there, go to courses or the cookbook. And again, use code 10 off at checkout. Most of us have been taught to set outcome-based goals. So this is when we focus on really specific results we want. So for our purposes in this podcast, I know lots of you who listen, it's about, getting weight under control, getting healthy, those sort of things. So this happens all the time if we have a goal like losing weight. But it could also be things like running a certain distance or lifting a certain amount. So these goals give us direction, but they're often tied to external outcomes. So while these outcomes are satisfying, they don't necessarily change our sense of self. So if I have a goal to run a marathon, I may do that and that feels good in the moment, but it doesn't necessarily create this sustainable behavior change over time. Or maybe, I'm working to lose 20 pounds and, I lost the 20 pounds and that feels amazing and great for a while. But if you talk to anyone who's lost weight, gotten to their goal weight, they really do not get into a space where that great feeling lasts forever. So these goals give us direction, but they don't, these goals create satisfaction for us, but they don't necessarily change our sense of self, our identity. So we might hit a goal, celebrate, and then we kind of revert to our old ways. This happens all the time. This is why many of us were stuck in that yo-yo dieting cycle. We lose weight, we gain weight, we lose weight, we gain weight, right? And it's just like because we hit a goal, it's exciting, but then we end up going back to our old ways because the actions we took to achieve that goal were not truly integrated into our identity. Now, I do have a past episode on integration, and I would suggest after this, you can go back and listen to that because you want to kind of understand integration from, a psychology level, what's going on there. Also, why it's so important that we do get these things integrated into our identity in order to experience lasting change. So, identity based goals really change this dynamic. So, instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? We ask, who do I want to become? For instance, instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, we're going to say, I want to be a person who values health and well being. I want to be a person who values health and well being. Even better, and we'll move into this at some other point, but I am a person who values health and well being. I am a person who values health and well being. By the way, the words we use, the semantics, how we talk to ourselves, and how we use those words in a sentence really, really matter. I want to be a person who values health and well being, which maybe that's where you're at. But even better to get us into this mode is I am a person who values health and well being. All right, that's another thing. So, okay, why is this shift in thinking so powerful? So, identity based goals make us think about ourselves in new ways on a daily basis. And by the way, this is key. I talk about this a lot in habit formation that we need things on a daily basis to create sustainable change. So when we think about ourselves in new ways on a daily basis, they really prompt us to check in with the version of ourselves we are working to embody. Okay, so to ask, is this choice right now that I'm about to make aligned with the kind of person I want to be? And this kind of thinking rewires our self image. And when our self image changes, our actions naturally follow. So when we work to shift our identity, remember, we've got our identity, our beliefs about ourselves. These create the thoughts that pop up in our brain. Our thoughts cultivate our feelings, and our feelings drive our behavior, and our behavior gives us our results, right? So, this kind of thinking actually rewires our brain to create a different self image, a different identity. And when our self image changes, our beliefs about ourselves, our actions naturally follow. This is how we make behavior change effortless, okay? Let's break it down a little further. When you adopt an identity-based goal, you're creating an internal guide for every decision you make. You're asking yourself questions like, what does a healthy person choose in this situation? Or how would someone who values mindfulness respond here? These questions encourage reflection that really help us see each decision as a vote for the person you want to become, future you. This daily reflection builds a stronger, more resilient self image that supports the behaviors you are trying to cultivate. Okay, so let's put this into a real life context. Imagine two people who both want to start eating healthier. Person A sets an outcome-based goal. I want to cut out sugar for 30 days. Person B sets an identity-based goal. I am someone who cares about what they put into their body. Now, when both people are faced with a sugary dessert, person A might think, I have to resist this. And that word right there, if any of you have been listening to this podcast for a while, you're going to understand this is a huge problem. I have to resist this. You're already using the word in your brain, resist. I have to resist this because I am trying to reach my goal. This thought places them in a struggle against temptation. Now they're in struggle. What happens when we're in struggle? We're stressed, right? We have more cortisol going on. We have higher insulin. So all that type of thinking, it places them in a struggle against temptation. But person B's thinking is different. They might say, as someone who values health, what choice would honor that? And this reframes the situation as an opportunity to act in alignment with their identity, not a test of willpower. We do not want to get into this white knuckling thing, right? We can't, we know, if you've been listening to this for a while, we know willpower doesn't work for long-term sustainable goals. So we do not want to set ourselves up for this struggle of resistance, this white knuckling, right? We want to instead set us up to see these things as opportunities to act in alignment with our identity. This is what gives us a sense of ease within our bodies, right? We lose tension in these moments when we act in alignment, when we are thinking about the situation as an opportunity. It lessens the struggle, it lessens the stress in our body. Okay, so over time, these choices really add up. Person B is building a self image as someone who values health, which will influence their decisions long after the dessert is gone. They're not just cutting out sugar for 30 days, they're becoming someone who naturally prioritizes healthy food. Now, does this mean this person never has sugar? No, that's not what I'm saying here. This is just we are building up a different identity to become someone who effortlessly prioritizes healthier food. Identity based goals are effective because they're not just about doing different things, they're about being different. And that requires us to think about ourselves in a new way every single day. So, here are some really practical steps to help you start to make this shift. Identify your core values. And I had an episode, I think it was 8 or 10 episodes back on values. So, if you kind of struggle with what your values are, you could go back and listen to that to maybe gain some more clarity. But to set an identity based goal, you want to start with your values. Think about what matters most to you. Maybe it's health, kindness, resilience, authenticity, relationship. These values form the foundation of your identity. When your goals align with your core values, they feel more natural, more fulfilling. You're going to feel more authentic. You're going to have way more peace in your life. All right. So identify your core values. Step 2, craft your identity-based goal. So once you've identified your values, reframe your goal in terms of identity. Instead of saying, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week, say, I am someone who values physical strength and fitness. This subtle shift helps you connect your actions with your self-image. And remember, we are doing these things to build in our psyche internally a different sense of identity. Step 3, practice daily. By the way, you guys, this all could and probably should be done in journaling. So, step 3, practice daily reflection. This is key. Every day, ask yourself questions that help you stay aligned with your identity based goals. So, for example, what choice would honor my value of health? Or how can I act as a compassionate person today? This daily check in keeps our new identity front and center. It keeps our attention on it, which reinforces it with each decision. Step 4, start small with consistent actions. We talk about this all the time. Identity is not built in a day, It is formed through small, consistent actions that reinforce who you want to become. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your identity-based goal, think of it as casting a vote for that version of yourself, casting a vote for future self, who you want to be. And over time, these votes, quotation marks there, these votes strengthen your identity and your actions start to feel more automatic, more effortless. Step 5, practice self compassion. I feel like now I've mentioned this in almost every single episode. It is so huge. Practice self compassion. Remember, identity based goals are not about perfection. There will be days when your actions do not fully align with your goals, and that's okay. It's okay. Self compassion helps you get back on track without guilt or shame. Because remember, if we get into guilt and shame, then we're in that shame cycle, then we're doing all the things eventually that kind of self sabotage us. So, to stay out of guilt and shame, we use self compassion so that we don't have to get into guilt or shame. Every day is a new opportunity to reaffirm who you really want to be. So, shifting to identity based goals is about seeing ourselves differently and really using that vision to shape our daily choices. It's powerful because it taps into the way our brain naturally works. We're wired to act in ways that are consistent with our self image. When we intentionally create an identity that aligns with our goals, our actions become part of who we are, just not something we have to force ourselves to do. It really is such a beautiful way to make changes. The next time you set a goal, think beyond the outcome. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? Start connecting with that identity every day and let your choices reflect it. Over time, you're going to find that you're not just reaching goals, you are evolving into the person you truly want to be. Thanks for listening to this episode of Weight Loss and Wellness for Real. I really do hope this conversation has given you a new perspective on goal setting and the power of identity in shaping our lives. Remember that lasting change does not come from forcing ourselves to do things. It comes from becoming the person who naturally does them. Thanks for listening. We'll talk soon. Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen, and there you will find links to my online courses, how I work with clients one-on-one, as well as online with my coaching and counseling services that I offer. The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.